Hello, good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Navin Majid.
And I'm Katrina Chan. Let's first take a look at what's making headlines tonight.
Bribery allegations against Minister Rishad Bathiuddin. Former Minister Johnston Fernando arrives at Bribery Commission with baggage in tow. National Medicine Regulatory Authority Bill passed with amendments. Petition before court seeking cessation of work on the Port City project. Shortage of staff at Attorney General's department is hampering the work of the SEC, a statement from Tilak Karunaratne. Dragged out of prison, humiliated and murdered. Vigilante justice takes a horrific turn in Nagaland, India.
A complaint has been lodged with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption against the Minister of Industry and Commerce, Rishad Bathiuddin. The complaint cites numerous accusations, including the arbitrary collection of money.
The complaint was lodged by a resident of Mannar.
I would like to request the President and the Prime Minister to chase away corrupt persons if they wish to instill good governance. Rishad Bathiuddin is an individual who was in Mahinda Rajapaksa's government and stole billions of rupees together with Basil Rajapaksa. He joined this new government so that he can protect everything that he has stolen. That is why I request his removal from this ministerial post and the executive committee. I have opened the gate for others who have allegations against him. They are in fear and have been threatened and have thus refrained from lodging a complaint. Now that I have opened the gate for this opportunity, they have come forward to file complaints against him. I have details on all the deals with me and I will produce it to you all someday. I have all the details. What I have presented is not only the corruption that has been taking place in Muslim areas and Pradesh Sabhas from the Mannar district, but also from the whole of the northern province. You do not know who Rishad Bathiuddin is. I have known him not for 20 years, but for 30 years. That is why I make a request to not be fooled by such individuals. There are 6 provincial councillors from the Vanni district. If even one of them says that Rishad Bathiuddin is not involved in corruption, then I will withdraw all of this.
Meanwhile, issuing a statement this evening, Minister Rishad Bathiuddin refuted the accusations against him as quote-unquote politically motivated.
Minister Bathiuddin says that the allegations have been made by a former candidate who contested the 2013 Northern Provincial Council elections under the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress and lost. He requests the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, to expeditiously inquire into whatever the allegations therein and reveal the outcome to the general public. He also assures and commits his fullest cooperation to the Commission in this regard.
The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption grilled former Minister Johnston Fernando for close to 5 hours today. The former minister stated that the questioning was in relation to his assets and liabilities.
Former Minister Johnston Fernando arrived at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption at about 9 o'clock this morning with a large piece of baggage in tow.
Who gave you
the message that I was coming? They asked us to come and then tell you to come as well. Well, I came here to make a statement on my assets and liabilities. They questioned me for about 5 hours. They did not speak of a complaint and neither do I have a right to ask. They asked me to bring the bank account statements and other documents, so I brought everything in this large bag. We needed a larger bag because we are businessmen.
Meanwhile, former Minister Reginald Kure, who was also called to the Commission today, offered this response when questioned on it.
ඉතින් කෙලවරක් නැහැ. ඉතින් අපි කියන්නේ මේක ඉක්මනට ඉවර කරන්න කියලා.
මොන වගේ සිද්ධියක් ගැනද දැන් ප්‍රශ්න කරේ?
ඒක මම ඔයාලට කියන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඒක වුණාට පස්සේ කියන්නේ.
විශේෂ දෙයක් නැත්ද ඒක නිසා?
මොනවද විශේෂද?
Noteworthy? We are thankful that ministers and MPs are being questioned in this way under good governance. We are hoping that at least this time around they will work effectively and conclude all of it.
The anti-corruption front handed over a number of files to the commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today.
Complaints of financial irregularities in connection to a number of institutions, including the Dangerous Drugs Control Board, Sri Lanka Catering and the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment, to name a few, were among these files.
Today we handed over all the complaints to the Commission for Investigating Bribery and Corruption. We can see that a number of ministers who were appointed are closing deals with people who have been involved in corruption in order to save them from facing the repercussions. We see that they are engaging in a business of saving them. The enthusiasm and interest on the part of the public to curb corruption is diminishing as a result of ideas being expressed with relation to the elections. On the other hand, the public also has an impression that certain parliamentarians, ministers and officials who are responsible for stopping it are getting into deals and agreements with the wrongdoers. This is because of the upcoming elections.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa paid an unexpected visit to the Maduravela Pradeshiya Sabha in Bulat Singhala today.
The former president was also joined by parliamentarians Umara Oil and Nirmala Kothalawala.
මම ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ දාස්පක්ෂයට මම කොහෙවත් මේ වෙන පක්ෂ නැහැ මට මං ගිහිල්ලවත් නැහැ తాවකාලික ගිහිල්ලත් නැහැ.
I'm a member of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. I have no other party. I have not left the party, nor am I detached from the party temporarily. I will not disconnect myself from the party even temporarily. I will not let go of the party temporarily. I am an SLFPer. When people left their mothers, daughters and sons, I was still attached to the party. During the last elections, it was not I who broke away from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. After overturning the SLFP government, no one can tell me to leave the SLFP.
During a discussion held today, Minister of Health and Indigenous Medicine, Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, commented on the situation that arose when the National Medicine Regulatory Authority Bill was tabled in Parliament.
A seminar to brief the media on the implementation of the National Medicine Regulatory Authority Bill was held at the State Media Department today.
Before entering Parliament, 3 leaders of the alliance said that they were against the passing of the bill. However, after Parliament was in session, all 3 of them pledged their support after reading the bill. One of the parliamentarians asked me, why was this bill moved swiftly? I said, when you delay, people ask, why was it delayed? This is the manner in which questioning takes place in Sri Lanka. Bringing the bill swiftly is also a problem. This is the bill. Read this paragraph. Everything in a bill cannot be articulated.
Now, reports had emerged over the recent past that close to 1,800 vehicles belonging to the Presidential Secretariat were unaccounted for. However, it was revealed at a media briefing conducted by the police headquarters that these numbers have plummeted. Meanwhile, a number of vehicles seized from various locations in the recent past.
Vehicle found parked at a house on first lane of Ratanamavata in Arawala, Pilyandala. 53 vehicles worth 220 million rupees belonging to the Presidential Secretariat found on a plot of land in Pitikote. 8 state-owned vehicles discovered at the Variapol Economic Centre. Police seized 2 vehicles in Ratnapura. A state-owned Prado seized at a garage in Gaul.
Now, the following views regarding vehicles belonging to the Presidential Secretariat that were missing were expressed at a police media briefing held today.
පසුගිය රජයේ සමයේ ජනාධිපති කාර්යාලයට අයත්ව තිබී අතුරුදහන් වූ වාහන සම්බන්ධයෙන්
The CID, as per the orders of the IGP, are carrying out investigations into vehicles belonging to the previous presidential secretariat that have been reported missing. Accordingly, a number of vehicles have been found thus far. No information has come to light regarding 19 vehicles. The latest discovery was a Chiron Jeep bearing the number plate KJ0698 that was found in a garage in Burales Gamua. This belongs to the presidential secretariat. The CID has commenced investigations to discover 19 vehicles that remain missing. Investigations have revealed that the secretariat had a total of 670 vehicles.
වාහන 19 සොයා ගැනීම සඳහා අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව වැඩිදුරටත් විමර්ශන සිදු කරනවා. සංචිතේ වාහන 670ක පමණ ප්‍රමාණයක් තිබුණු බව තමයි අනාවරණය වෙන්නේ.
Former General Secretary of the United National Party, Tissa Thanayaka, filed a petition at the Supreme Court today. The petition was filed challenging his removal from the party membership and sought the prevention of a communique announcing that he had vacated his parliamentary seat.
On to other local news, Minister of External Affairs of India, Sushma Swaraj, arrived in the island this afternoon on a two-day official visit seen as a precursor to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit on the 13th of this month.
Minister Sushma Swaraj is slated to hold talks with President Maithripala Sirisena, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and senior officials of the government. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that the visiting Indian External Affairs Minister will also hold rounds of talks with political party representatives, including representatives of the Tamil National Alliance.
The former Sri Lankan High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Dr. Chris Norris, has been appointed to the post of President's Advisor on International Affairs. The letter of appointment was presented to Dr. Chris Norris by President Maithripala Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat this evening. Chris Norris is known as a competent diplomat who elevated Sri Lanka's image internationally. He was at the forefront, strengthening ties between the UK and Sri Lanka during his tenure as Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to the UK.
Tilak Karunaratne, chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, says the work of almost all regulatory bodies is being hampered by the shortage of staff at the Attorney General's Department. Karunaratne was speaking at this year's National Law Conference of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka.
We are greatly hampered by the shortage of staff at AG's department. When you refer something to AG's department, it takes a long time. We understand their problem that they'll be short of staff. I'm told that there are 70 vacancies in AG's department and about 30 of them are also working in other countries. So that's another area that perhaps the Minister of Justice will have look into. The work of not only ours, but all the other departments and other bodies also must be greatly hampered due to lack of staff at AG's department. The regulator must have total independence, and I always pray for that and hope that it will one day be provided to the regulator so that we can operate independently without being subjected to pressures.
Also speaking at the event, Arjuna Mahendran, Governor of the Central Bank, noted that no matter how independent central banks are, they must conform to government policy.
Experience in many countries has shown that a central bank with a degree of independence of the government proper can make economic analyses and hold views which are more detached and objective than those of a government department. On matters of vital interest to the state, however, it must be recognized that even the absence of some such formula as the British or the Australian, it would be impossible for a central bank to adopt a policy or pursue a course of action contrary to the government, the policy of the government of the day. This is very important. However independent these central banks may be, at the end of the day, we have to conform to the dictates of government policy.
Deputy Minister of Policy Planning and Economic Affairs Dr. Harsha De Silva highlighted the importance of reviewing the investment strategy of the Employees Provident Fund.
In fact, the Attorney General at the time very specifically said, when giving the authority for the Provident Fund to invest in the stock market, that it must avoid investing in any banks or finance companies. But that was violated and continued to be violated. So Arjun, I think you have a very serious matter that you need to deal with, and that is the EPF's investment strategy in entities that you regulate. No Chinese wall in this context, in this corrupt system that we've inherited. Chinese walls don't work.
The National Law Conference was held under the theme Sri Lanka Legal Summit 2015, Governance, Regulation and Investment, the Way Forward. The two-day conference concluded yesterday.
The 16th edition of the Newsfirst Gammad program that provides a platform for those living in rural areas to direct their problems to authorities was recorded live in Bandarawala today. This edition of the Gammad program highlighted the issues surrounding the Umara Oil multi-purpose development project.
One of the pressing issues that was highlighted at the Gammad program today was the lack of clean drinking water. Many issues surrounding the Umara Oil project was highlighted by Newsfirst in the recent past. Clean drinking water is one of the issues. During the program, residents who have been grappled with finding clean drinking water were provided with PE Plus tanks courtesy of Eslon, a subsidiary of the Capital Maharaja organization. The water tanks were distributed by a group of officials of the Capital Maharaja organization, including Group Director Shavan Daniel. The issues faced by the people were brought before Chief Minister of the Uva Province, Fernando, who remained an active voice in bringing out the environmental issues of the Umara Oil project, and Provincial Councillor Samantha Vidyaratna, Chairman of the Central Environmental Authority and the Director of the Umara Oil project. The affected were given an opportunity to direct their questions to the authorities.
I'm currently at the Makulala Vidyalaya here in the outskirts of the Bandarawala town, where the 16th edition of the Newsfirst Gammad program is currently underway. It just commenced a short while ago, and the Chief Minister of Uva Province is present here. And some time back, ahead of the commencement of the program, Newsfirst, as always, which is the people's, which looks into the people's difficulties, also started off with the donation of water tanks, PE Plus water tanks, to the communities, and their representatives came and collected it. And meanwhile, the problems of the society are being aired. People are voicing their concerns now. The public representatives, political representatives, and those who claim that the project has to go on, and those who say that the project has to be stopped, are all gathered here. A lot of views are being exchanged.
And on to one of our headline stories tonight. The long-awaited National Medicine Regulatory Authority Bill was passed in Parliament this afternoon. The bill was passed with a majority of 67 votes. 68 MPs voted in favour of the bill, while independent MP Ajit Kumara voted against it. It had been decided at the party leaders' meeting that it must be submitted at 6:30 the day before yesterday. We were unaware of this, so we brought the amendments this afternoon. We have the amendments now, and we submitted it to the Honourable Minister. The problem is that the amendments have not been discussed with the officials. We are going to pass it now, section by section.
අපි ඔබතුමා එමනම් මං කියන්නම් මේ ටික වෙනමම අපි සංශෝධන වශයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න ඉදිරි කාලේදී. ඒක කෙරෙන්නේ මේ සංශෝධන ඒක කෙරෙන්නේ නෑනේ. අපි නම් කියා සිටින්නේ මේ පනත මේ විදියට දැන් අපි අනුමත කරමු. තව එන සතියේ ඔබතුමා කැඳවන්න සෞඛ්‍ය පිළිබඳ.
Let us pass it as it is. You can call on the Consultative Committee on Health next week. Get the officials from the Attorney General's Department as well and introduce those amendments that the government can agree to there. You can do it within the 100 days.
ඒකට සංශෝධනයක් මේ දින 100 ඉවර වෙන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ගේන්න. එතුමාගේ පක්ෂය අදහසේ එතුමාට ඒ තීරණ ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතුමා අපේ කිසිය.
That is the view of his party, and he can take that decision. He is not our opposition leader. I need to mention that. Thereby he cannot answer for us, neither can he make agreements on our behalf.
මේ හොඳ සභා ගාණ්ඩුවක්. ශ්‍රී ලංකා UNP කාලෙකින් එදිච්චි. හරිද? ඒක ඒ විදිහට තේරුම් ගන්න. නැත්තම් මේ 60ක ආණ්ඩුවක් තියාගන්න ඕන මේගොල්ලෝ. විපක්ෂයක්. ඔව් මේ විපක්ෂයක්
තුන්වෙනිදා මේ පනත ඉදිරිපත් කළා හතරවෙනිදා සම්මත කරන්න. මම ඒකට මුල සිටම විරෝධය පෑවා රාජ්‍ය ඇමතුමාටත්.
They introduced the bill on the 3rd and wanted it adopted by the 4th. I was against it from the outset, and I informed this House and Minister Rajitha Senaratne. Minister Rajitha Senaratne said that the bill could be studied within 24 hours and that there is no problem. But even this morning, doctors and professionals expressed good ideas on this to me.
මේ සංශෝධන ටික ගන්නවද නැද්ද? ඔබතුමාගේ සංශෝධනය මේ දැන් අතරයි. මට පුළුවන් මේ දැන් ඇවිල්ලා දැන් එකද?
ඔබතුමාගේ දැන්නේ. නමුත් අපි විපක්ෂයෙන් අපි දුන්නා පොරොන්දුවක්.
We in the opposition made a promise that we would adopt this bill today. Take the necessary steps. There is a problem with regard to appointing a health secretary. The current secretary is a doctor, but I believe in the future it could not be a doctor. The National Medicine Regulatory Authority bill was adopted following the vote this evening.
The Centre for Environmental Justice filed a writ petition with the Court of Appeal today seeking an order to halt work on the Colombo Port City project. The petitioner claims that the project gives rise to a number of issues.
The petition was filed at the Court of Appeal this morning.
One of the
factors that we have highlighted to the court is the environmental impact. As an institution that is duty-bound to protect the environment, we pointed out to court the absence of an environmental impact assessment report and the fact that whatever environmental feasibility studies were conducted were not done in keeping with an accepted procedure. There are problems with the sand and stone being used to reclaim the land. Also, there is a problem of what to do with the waste that will be generated after this is built. At the same time, how are we going to provide water and electricity for all the new buildings that will come up? Do we have the facilities? Have other institutions agreed to this? Attention needs to be focused on several primary factors such as this. A section of our coast is being handed over to another country. This is not allowed under any law. At first glance, it appears that the Ports Authority has interfered in something that it does not have the power to do. We sought to bring all of this before the court so this project can be stopped immediately. If for some reason or for some person's need this project is to continue, then it must be in line with the law of the country.
While a decision has been made by Cabinet to temporarily suspend work on the Port City project, construction continued yesterday as well. This series of footage was captured by our cameras at various points of the day today.
Be it China or any other country, they are not that powerful. When decisions are made in our country, it is our responsibility to implement it. What we mean by stopped is that it has been temporarily suspended until legal authorization and an environmental certificate is obtained. It may be continuing because they have not been informed accordingly. Maybe the recommendations made by the committee are being implemented step by step by the Prime Minister's office. I believe the Cabinet spokesperson announced that it would be halted. There is no payment happening on our side. If someone is continuing it and unloading stone on their own, then they will look after it. We have stopped it for now until a decision is made. When an announcement is made that it has stopped, they should consider it an order. So those involved in these businesses should know that no payments will be made if they continue.
Meanwhile, China has said it is continuing to pay close attention to how the situation develops in Sri Lanka. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying, speaking at a press briefing in Beijing today, expressed hope that Chinese companies' legal interests would be safeguarded. China will continue to pay close attention to how the situation develops and hopes Sri Lanka can properly solve relevant issues out of consideration for the fundamental interests of its national development and maintaining the confidence and enthusiasm of Chinese companies investing in Sri Lanka and safeguard Chinese companies' legal interests.
An investigation has been initiated into the non-payment of dues to Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Limited for the long-term parking of a Boeing 727, which has been the subject of much controversy.
This cargo plane, allegedly used by the aviation company purportedly owned by MP Sajjan Gunawardena, has reportedly been parked at the BIA for close to a year. Issuing a statement recently, the aviation company in question noted that the aircraft had been leased from another company and that the relevant agreement had been annulled in August 2012. However, the aircraft is still parked at the BIA. Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation Arjuna Ranatunga spoke to journalists today after meeting with officials at Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka.
The Boeing 727 has been parked at the BIA for a year. No payment has been made. We intend to take legal action on this. We have not gone through this matter personally, as we did not have time. We need a week to give a proper answer on this. Investigations need to be conducted whether this company had a proper license, so on and so forth. Once investigations are over, legal action would be taken.
Meanwhile, President's Counsel Faisal Mustafa says that the aviation company allegedly owned by MP Sajjan Gunawardena should not have been allowed to use the terminal at the Ratmalani airport as a result of the non-payment of dues.
The agreement states that a monthly payment must be made. Since the money has not been paid for an extended period, the question rises as to whether we should continue to grant that privilege. Legal action can be taken against a person who fails to make payments in line with an agreement. I would never have granted the hangar space to a person who had failed to make the payments.
The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation announced recently that the aviation company purportedly owned by Sajjan Gunawardena had been granted permission to use the Ratmalani airport for its operations for a period of 2 weeks. The ministry also said that the company had failed to make payments in excess of 24 million rupees. The ministry also noted, however, that the new administration had taken steps to immediately charge the money owed to the state.
Former Central Bank Governor Ajit Nivard Cabral has refuted allegations that were made in a state newspaper today that the central bank under his watch has usurped the powers of the cabinet to make decisions on PR agreements with certain lesser-known US firms. The newspaper report today refers to Cabral's alleged involvement in making payments to US firms via the Central Bank for PR services, allegedly brokered by MP Sajjan Gunawardena. In his statement, Cabral says that very stringent procedures are followed in an environment of high-quality internal controls at the central bank, and he is therefore confident that payments made for PR services during his tenure have been effected with proper and required authorization. Furthermore, the former central bank governor states the current frenzy of trials by media seems to indicate that what is prevailing is an operation to vilify persons and build up public hatred towards such persons before they could even state their position. Now, in a bid to expose to the general public the fraud and corruption that is taking place in Sri Lanka, Newsfirst launched a new website today. This new website was launched today during the Dawasa program, which has become a platform for the public to voice their opinion regarding fraud as well as the political, social and economic trends in the country. The public has the opportunity to visit this new website by visiting Newsfirst.lk and clicking the link with the title Action Against Corruption, which is situated on the top right-hand corner of the web page. You can forward us information, visuals and images of fraud and corruption that you are aware of. This service is available on a 24-hour basis. News First is ready to inform the country on the news you feed us.
And that's a wrap for tonight's edition of your Primetime News. I'm Katharina Chang.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Just a reminder, you can keep abreast of all of the stories we're following here at News First by visiting Newsfirst.lk. You can also send us any information that you may have regarding fraud and corruption by visiting Newsfirst.lk and clicking on the Action Against Corruption link. Have a pleasant weekend ahead. Good night and good luck.